And so, the mark of maturity is, well, let me say this quote. It is almost impossible to offend a mature follower of Christ. It is almost impossible to offend a mature follower of Christ. Because the more mature you are, the more Christ-like you are. And another sign of maturity is that when an offense has been made, the amount of time it takes you to forgive someone, the shorter that amount you're growing. The longer it takes you to forgive someone, well, there's room for growth. It is almost impossible. It is almost nearly impossible to offend a true follower of Christ, a mature believer in Christ, because they know how much they've been forgiven and they know their own shortcomings. And not only that, but Christ is in you and he's fully in you. And if he's fully in you, you just can't hold a grudge for that long. It's just not who you are. Okay, holiness and purity, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It doesn't feel like work anymore. It used to feel like work. It used to feel like, I got to do everything I can to stay holy, stay pure. When you commit to this love relationship, when you commit yourself to the most beautiful thing in all of creation, it doesn't feel like work anymore. Someone was saying, I was in house church this past Friday, and one of the members was sharing with me, and I got his permission to share this, and I'm going to wrap up with this, and then we're going to close. Holiness is not something you do. So don't leave here thinking I have to go and do more holy. You know what I mean? That's borderline, you can fall into the trap of religion. I had this dialogue with the Lord as I'm pursuing holiness, as I'm pursuing righteousness and purity. There's a part of me that feels good about it. Do you know what I mean? There's a part of me is like, oh man, they should listen to you. You know what I mean? Well done. And there's a part of me like, why aren't he or she? And I had to catch myself. Man, that's the beginning of a religious spirit. So if holiness is about doing, if purity is about you got to do this, and then you're doing it, and so then and then others aren't, then there's this spectrum, there's this weird thing of works righteousness, and you start thinking you can judge other people, and don't leave here today thinking you have to do more holy or do more things right. Don't do that. That's the very thing Christ came to abolish. Be holy. Let me say it another way. You are holy. You are holy when you are abiding in Christ. Abide in Christ. You were made for him. He made you. You were meant to be holy. And then there was a gap. And then Christ died on the cross and made you holy again. You don't have to do holy. You are holy. You are a holy people. When you said yes to Jesus, his holiness, his blood, his identity, all his worth came over you. You are redeemed. And so here's what we have to do when you leave this place. All you have to do is, you're a little bit off the ranch. You're a little bit in the flesh. You're a little bit thinking and doing, and all you have to do is you have to come under and abide. If you abide in Christ, you are holy. When you wander off and do things in the flesh, you are not walking in that covering or holiness. And so really the call this morning is to abide. Come back to the Lord. Come back into relationship. And holiness and purity, it'll just flow out of you. Because it's who you are, it's who he is. And it's who he created you to be.